Comfort, luxury, all these things you can relate to something maybe a little Swedish culture. Hence, welcome everybody to the all-new Volvo S60. The front end of the car has a very typical Thor hammer-like look in the headlight and has a huge signature Volvo chrome grille with a huge Volvo badging in the front. When you look at this car from the front, you cannot mistake it anything aside from a Volvo, including these two huge crease lines on the hood. It's just a typical Volvo, and I think that's a very good thing because this whole family look that the Volvos carry these days, I think they look the best in the segment. The side profile of the car is very simplistic, very elegant. It's basically a shrunken S90, which is again not a bad thing to do. It's a very nice looking car, and the side profile is very elegant and a very orthodox sedan look, which it has, and I think it looks absolutely good. I think it's one of the better looking cars in the segment. The engine of this car is a 2-liter unit that produces 190 PS and 300 Newton meters of torque. The rear end of the car again is very subtle, very clean, classy look. It has a few quirky elements like the quirky taillights, and it has a huge Volvo badge. But aside from that, it's a very clean look. And yes, these two exhaust pipes, both of them are functional, unlike its rival, the C-Class. Now that we have talked about the exterior of the car, let me show you guys the interior of the car. Once you get inside the interior, you think you know it's a Volvo right away. The big screen here and this space and the typical start-stop knob, I can't call it a button, a start-stop knob that you find on the center console. It's all very Volvo, and again, it's a great place to be inside. The steering, the displays, everything you touch and feel feels really premium. It actually feels much more premium than the other cars in the segment that it goes up against, like the BMW 3 Series, Audi A4, Mercedes C-Class and the Jaguar XE. When you open this cupboard, you find there's two cup holders and there is a wireless charging pad for a phone. So if your phone supports wireless charging, you can charge your phone in this car wirelessly. And then when you slide this, you get the 12-volt charging port. But then you can just keep it closed because it just looks so good. The gear lever is a conventional gear lever that you can find. The start-stop knob I've already talked about. The drive mode controller again feels very tactile, feels really nice. The clicks are top-notch on it. And then you have the electronic parking brake and the auto hold function. You do have a center armrest which does open as well. So they have the two USB ports where you can use for Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Rest is just the usual affair here. The tons of leather you find all over the dashboard feels really good. All the leather you find on the dashboard, on the trims, everywhere feels top notch. And this real wood texture that you have here feels really premium. It really brings up the luxury quotient of the interior. The AC vents, the aluminum finish all around the dashboard, anything where you touch and feel feels so premium. Brings up the luxury quotient of the interior by several notches. The seats are a great place to be. It's got great lower back support, lumbar support. The cushions can also be extended, the under thigh cushions. I do feel that for a sizable guy like me, it's a little too tight body hugging. But again, the fabric and the cushioning is just spot on. It's so comfortable. You can do long drives and just feel so comfortable in them. The big screen is the main dominating factor in this interior. This big screen controls everything, and when I say everything, I mean everything. From the traction control to the AC control to the music controls, everything is controlled by this big screen in the center console. The touch screen fluidity is top notch. Anything you do, there's no lag at all, and this is an Android based unit, so it does feel really good. And there are some apps that come with the car, but yeah, everything else you can control. You can see the car status, or you can see the driving performance. It measures, you know, how much fuel economy and everything. Pretty intuitive if you ask me. You know, these little things go a long way. This screen also comes with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is really useful because BMW only provides Apple CarPlay, but this system has support for both operating systems.
One thing to note inside is the amazing 14 speaker Harman Kardon setup audio system that this car has. I think that really enhances the whole driving experience of the car, and I think it's probably the best sounding audio system in this segment, even perhaps the higher segments from this car. This car also comes with a full panoramic sunroof. The rear part of the sunroof does not open, but it lends a lot of sunlight to the otherwise dark interior this car has.
So when you start the car, there's a needle sweep on the digital instrument cluster. It is sort of a virtual cockpit without all the virtual features like how Jag or Audi provides, but it is an all virtual setup. It's all completely digital, and it's a very clean look, which can also be customized to different looks that the car has. It has a blue theme, a red theme, all that stuff going for it. And overall, it's a very pleasant, you know, simplistic outlook that this whole car carries, and it's passed on to the speedometer and the dials that the car has. As you can see, the car can change modes, colors. So right now it's in the red performance mode. If I change it to the glass mode, it goes to the gray. And then if I go to the minimalistic one, it's only the numbers. So no surrounding or surrounds outside the numbers. So overall, it's very simplistic, very aesthetically pleasing to the eye. The steering wheel, again, very nice to hold, nicely leather wrapped, but there is lacking of paddle shifters. There are no paddle shifters in this car, which is really shocking. But the steering controls are really nice. So this is for the adaptive cruise control and this lane assist and everything. This is for the audio, the volume, the voice assist, and all the features rest. It's a pretty nice steering wheel to hold, and I mean, there's nothing you can complain about sitting inside this car. As you can see, there is a generous usage of gloss piano black around the interior, the center console, and you can see this is a big fingerprint magnet, just like the screen. It's a big fingerprint, you know, magnet. So even this, if you touch it a lot, it's bound to get a lot of fingerprints. So this is something you need to keep an eye out for. The rear is a great place to be. I mean, the all black theme does carry forward here, so it might feel a little claustrophobic to some people, but to me it's perfectly acceptable. Very nice place to be. There's quite a lot of legroom, so this driving seat is adjusted for my driving position, and you can see there is quite a lot of legroom. This seat is at its maximum position, and you can see there's really quite a lot of legroom. It's almost, you can say, maybe rivaling cars from higher segments. This car does have the largest wheelbase compared to all its rivals in its segment. So overall, it's a very nice place to be. One thing I can say is that the seat base is quite on the lower side, so your knees are pointing up. But the backrest is really comfortable, and the headrest is also a really nice place to be. There is a center armrest that comes out, which has a holder. Maybe you can place your phones here. And then there are cup holders which can be popped out from the center console as well. And then once you do open the cup holders, you can notice that there's extra storage by opening the center console into more parts, so that you can keep your phones here, you can keep your drinks here. Really practical packaging by Volvo here. One very fascinating thing in the back is this touch screen sort of unit for the AC controls for the rear passengers. It is dual zone, so this makes it a quad zone for the whole car, because there's dual zone in the front as well. So these do dual zone air condition controls with the fan speed controls for the rear. I think that's pretty cool. And then you do have two type C fast charging USB ports in the back. One also very cool thing that very less car makers provide these days is a useful net to you know, keep your knickknacks, like, you know, newspaper, magazines, anything, you know, small thing. You can just put it in the back and, you know, forget about it. Also, one very cool thing is this pillar mounted AC vents. So you do have 4 AC vents in the back, which is really, really cool. Now I'm behind the wheel of the Volvo S60. So let's see how this car drives. So once you slot into D, which I already am, you let go of the brake, and then you realize the car shuts off really easily, shuts off really smoothly, and power delivery is very linear. I'm saying this after driving the car for some time now, pushing it in all conditions. Like if I floor it right about now, it's so linear, you don't feel like it's 190 horsepower until you look at the speedometer. And you look at the speedometer and it's like, wow, you're doing way above the speed limit, which is obviously very low in Delhi here. But it's just so linear, the delivery, that it's sometimes actually weird. You wish sometimes there was a little bit more of drama, because cars like the XE or the 3 Series, the 330i have more drama, definitely. So you really wish this car had some more elements of drama. But this car also surprises in many other ways, like the way it handles, because people don't think a car like a Volvo would actually handle. But trust me, this car handles really well. The steering feel is top notch. It's bang on perfect. The steering weight feels just perfect, and you really feel like throwing this car around corners. Once you have done get an idea about what this car can do, the limits. And I know it's very un-Volvo like, and normally you would say that probably the BMWs are the most fun to drive, but I would say that maybe Jaguar XE is perhaps a bit more fun to drive than this, because it is obviously rear wheel drive, so it is more playful. This is front wheel drive, so it is not that playful, and the limits are fairly lower than say something like the XE. But again, it's really fun. The gearbox is the ZF 8-speed unit, so it shifts really well. It's always in the right gear at the right time, so you don't have to be hunting around for gears. Yes, this car does not have paddle shifters, sadly. Again, a big omission. I wish this car did have. It would complete the whole driving package perfectly. But it does not have paddle shifts. But yes, the car still stays in most of the time in the right gear at most times. I'm at 3000 RPM. When I pull it, it pulls very linearly, just surges ahead really comfortably. It's actually nice. It's a different feeling actually. You don't have that kick in the back. It's actually relaxing, actually, really fun. The ride is superb. I took it over some bumps. Superb. It's so well planted on the road. It feels so good. The ride, the NVH, everything is top notch. The refinement, I mean, the first time I think I've noticed where every car I've seen has a plastic sheet, the covering, the engine cover on the engine. This one has a foam engine cover, which is so thick. I'm pretty sure that is for pedestrian safety, but I'm pretty sure that also plays a part in reducing the NVH for the car. It's a fabulous package. I mean, Volvo has really thought it through, and their engine mode, their drive modes as well. So I can change it into, say, comfort mode or eco mode. If I put it to eco, it's completely, goes into full fuel economy mode, shifts really early, keeps me giving me good gas mileage. But because otherwise, if you're driving this car the way it should be, you're probably gonna expect maybe 5-6 kilometers per liter, which is, let's be honest, pretty low. Overall, I mean, it's a great car to drive. The whole package is just amazing, and it's surprising, if that's the word I can use. Great car to drive, very fun. I mean, the engine, I just wish it was a bit more dramatic, but I think I can live with it. I've driven it fairly around all of NCR. It is really good fun to drive. I mean, I can't really fault this car.
Being a Volvo, it comes with a host of safety features. For one, it comes with tons of airbags. Next, it comes with adaptive cruise control, pilot assist, collision mitigation support, lane keeping aid, reversing camera, park assist front and rear. These are just some of the things this car comes with. It just helps you just drive that car so easily. In fact, the adaptive cruise control is so intuitive that it drives itself. That's really cool once you get used to it. All the safety features in this car come under the IntelliSafe branding by Volvo. And as you can see in the next video, the adaptive cruise control and the lane assist are working really well in real time. As you can see, the steering is making minor corrections to keep the car in lane. My hands are not on the steering wheel, though the car does alert you to keep your hands on the steering wheel once in a while. But here it is working just as planned, and it's really cool if you ask me. In conclusion, then, the Volvo S60. I think it's got a great looking exterior and an equally great looking interior to back up the amazing exteriors. I think it's a very fun to drive car. The chassis, handling, steering feel is top notch and right up there with its rivals like the BMW 3 Series, the Mercedes C Class, and the Jaguar XE. Shame it's a front wheel drive though, because I think if it was a rear wheel drive, it would have been even more fun to drive and would have probably been better than its rivals. And I think just because its rivals are rear wheel drive, I would probably rate them slightly higher than this for the outright fun to drive factor. But again, if you do enjoy this car on its limits, you can probably have a really good time. And this engine is another thing I'd like to point out, that it's a little too linear. I wish it was a little bit more explosive. Maybe if there could be little bit more higher performance version coming in the future, then that would complete this chassis perfectly. But in its current power, I think it's a little too linear, lacks a little too much firework. It's just too linear. I mean, the way the chassis handles everything, it just could do with a bit more drama. And the fact that it does not even have paddle shift shows that this car is not intended for being driven hard, which is a shame. Everything else in this car works so well. There's ample space in the back. It's really, really comfortable. The NVH is top notch, and the boot space is also enough to carry all your luggage for the airport runs or for the long road trips. I mean, it's just a complete package. Pricing is unknown at this point because this car will launch in March, so pricing will be unveiled at that time. But we estimate it to be at around 45 lakhs ex showroom, which is going to be right in the segment pricing at what the 3 Series, the Mercedes C Class, and the Jaguar XE is priced currently. If Volvo can nail that perfectly and provide a good after sales service backup, this car has all the recipe to succeed and become the champion of its segment. Even though I've said that this car does not have the explosive nature of its rivals, I do feel that its interiors and small things like the awesome sound system this car has really enhance the experience of this car. And probably this car could be my choice in this segment if I were to buy a car in this segment. It's just that good, and it's so comfortable, and you can just munch the miles the whole day and not be tired at all. This is what I feel this car is USP, and I think it's something the customers can really value once they purchase this car. Hope Volvo really succeeds with this model in India. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.